Lesson 15. Love or fear, the choice is yours. We come forth with great joy to abide with you, to share our love for you, in celebration that we are but one mind and one heart. For those who choose to release all illusion and journey to the heart of God, there can only be oneness, brotherhood, sisterhood eternally. And there can only be one purpose and one goal. There can only be Christ expressing the mind of God. Therefore, indeed, it is with great joy that we come forth to abide with you in this lesson. We would ask you to set aside the roar and din of the world and to simply hold a thought in mind for just the briefest of moments, that right now you need not be concerned for anything. The world you have dreamt into being, simply to experience it, can be placed upon a shelf, that in this now there is simply this experience. Focus on your willingness to prepare a place for us and to hear subtle vibrations, translated as thoughts, into the words on the page that can direct the heart toward the soul, that can direct the soul toward the spirit, and that can direct the spirit into awakening fully as the presence of the thought of love and form. For this is what you are made to be, and this is what you are eternally, regardless of the vibrations of thoughts that you allow to make a home in your mind temporarily. You have a term in your legal system called temporary insanity. The lawyer said, "My client is not guilty. It was just temporary insanity." Rest assured that is exactly how it is in the cosmic dimension of your being. Your Father knows that given perfectly free will, you have elected at times to be temporarily insane. Knowing this, no judgment has been passed, and you have never been made wrong by your Creator. You have never failed to create and attract precisely those most beautiful lessons that have triggered for you what you need most to learn, what you most need to feel. In each moment you exist in exquisite perfection of your own making, and your own collaboration with one another. You, therefore, my beloved friends, are already as I am. We merely work together to restore to your mind what God has placed there since before the beginning of time. We work together in joy and in innocence and in perfect simplicity, to recall, to remember what is true always. And then we work together to explore the expansion of that truth beyond the boundaries of every fearful thought, beyond the limitations of every egoic perception, beyond even the body itself, which can be only a temporary communication device usable only within the very thin slice of creation that you call the physical world. Beloved friends, the way of transformation does indeed require your commitment. Where you feel that your commitment has wavered, when you become aware of it, simply choose anew. And the end of the journey must be perfectly certain. For as you have created your journey away from God in your imagination, so too do you imagine, or bring into the form of images, the very pathway that returns you to your true reality. We now embark on the next lesson and study period, in which you have the choice to become fully committed to heeding every word, to letting the vibration brought forth by the word settle ever more deeply into the nervous system of the body, as it settles likewise into the depth of your mind and your heart. Therefore fear not, for you are the creator of your journey home. You are the creator of all that you perceive. You are the one given the infinite power of the mind of God to see through the eyes of love, to rest in perfect safety, and to embrace all that comes to you in the simple reality that you have called it to you, as a challenge perhaps, but always as an opportunity to expand your commitment to love. And where love is chosen so that you want nothing else, you will see nothing else but a lovely world, infinite in dimension, sparkling in clarity, radiant in beauty. You will look upon it and say, "Behold, it is very good." A meditation to attune to the will and love of God. In this lesson we wish to introduce a methodology for what you might call meditation. It is a form of communion or meditation that was initially and essentially taught by me to several of my friends, what you know as disciples, one of which carried this specific form of teaching and preserved it. Now, it did not originate with me. I merely refined it. For I, like you, was once a student of the ways of seeking God, and I dove deep into the nature of consciousness and mind itself, and discovered how to attune the mind, the emotions, and even the nervous system of the body to resonate with the perfect will and love of God. To begin to prepare a place for that teaching, for the next 30 days, return to the practice of abiding as Christ for at least 5 minutes. Then, as that 5-minute practice period is completed, allow the eyes to close. Become aware of the simple movement of your own breathing, and simply hold the thought, "I allow this breath to move more deeply and slowly." Then, as you are beginning to feel that sense of relaxation ever more deeply, hold the thought, "As Christ, in perfect safety, I release all tension." As Christ, in perfect safety, I dissolve my mind in the perfect peace of God. Then merely continue in this manner. As the breath comes to fill the body, gently merely say, I accept. And as the breath leaves the body, gently say within the mind, the love of God. And again, as the breath enters the body, I accept. And as it leaves the body, the love of God. Continue in this manner for about 5 minutes, regardless of what the egoic mind says to you, and it will kick up a bit of a storm. Simply return to this simple practice. At the end of about 5 minutes, let the prayer that you have been offering change from words to energy. You might perceive it as a golden white light. You might feel it as a gentle flow of relaxation. Whatever works for you is fine. Continue gently to breathe that quality or that color in yourself with each breath. And with each letting go of the breath, imagine and feel that energy moving throughout the course of the body, as though it were extending like a gentle breeze beyond the boundaries of the body. Again, if the egoic consciousness kicks up its heels and you start thinking of all the multitude of things you ought to be doing, simply return to the prayer. For all prayer is nothing more than a choice to abide, to contemplate, and to rest in communion beyond egoic thought. After about another 5 minutes, then say within the mind, As Christ, I have celebrated in this manner the truth of who I am, and I bring peace to the world this day. Allow this practice period to occur in the morning of your day, and then again in the evening of your day. The only change would be in the final phrasing for the evening. Say simply, This day I have brought peace to the world and offered it to my companions. That should be clear enough and simple enough for you to begin. You may choose to refer back to the words of this meditation and use it as a guide for a period of time, until it seems more comfortable for you to do on your own. Those that embark on this simple process will be well prepared for what is to come in the lessons that follow. The only energy that can separate you from the kingdom. Beloved friends, the world that you look upon is not real. It has never been real. It will never be real. But it is a creation that can be impregnated with the perfect love of God. Remember always that there is only love or fear. What is not love can only be fear and is never justified. The world that you have made is thoroughly harmless. The world that you experience, which is the world that you have made in conjunction with others, in any given moment offers to you the opportunity to choose to impregnate it with love, or to allow it to reflect to you your fearful thoughts. You are not limited at any time, and in you all power under heaven and earth is given. You have a phrase in your world, there is nothing to fear but fear itself. That is 98% accurate. Fear is the only energy that can separate you from the kingdom, and fear is never justified in any moment. The final 2% would be to say, there is nothing to fear, since fear is only a temporary insanity, and your right-mindedness is but a choice away. Therefore, begin to look upon each situation, each moment or minute of your life as a very separate scene in a movie. It has its certain set, its certain characters, it has a beginning and an end. Although you are eternal, the things of time are not, and all things birthed in time will end in time. Therefore, will you use the moment birthed in time to bring what is eternal to it? Or will you continue to believe that yet within you there is no possible power to choose love over fear? Look around you. What do your eyes show you? Would you bless it or curse it? What would you teach yourself and therefore make true for you? The message of this lesson is being given slowly, deliberately, and carefully, for we want you to make no mistake in what is being shared, both in terms of practice and in theory. Theory is important in your world, for it is only through theory that the mind, the little part of you that is arrogant, will decide whether to value what the theory offers. And when you have placed value upon what the theory offers to you, you are then willing to embark on the practice it requires. I hope this makes sense to you. Therefore, in this lesson, we are choosing to speak with you more rationally than emotionally. We would ask you to consider this. Have you suffered enough? Have you kept yourself small long enough? Have you tasted limitation deeply enough to know what you want these things no longer? Would you be willing to patiently choose a dissolving of your illusions? For on just the other side of each illusion is the freedom and peace that you seek. In any moment you can tell quite clearly what you are most committed to. If the body is tight and uncomfortable, if you must speak with a louder voice, if your words come more quickly, if the brow is furrowed and the jaw tense, rest assured, you have chosen to be devoted to fear. You are like one who carries a magic wand filled with such power that you could merely wave it upon the face of the earth and extend the kingdom of heaven to every heart and every mind. What then can prevent the expression of such power? the fear you have made to replace the reality of love. As you look upon each segment, each scene, and each minute in your movie, begin to cultivate the deliberate practice of recognizing that you are in a field of energy that is your perfect servant. Within that moment, you are the one with the power to make that moment be whatever you wish it to be. It can be filled with Christ consciousness, or it can be filled with temporary insanity. The choice is always yours. And never ever has there been such a thing as a victim. Therefore, as you enter into any one of your minutes, ask yourself, what is this moment for? What do I decree this moment to be? What do I most want to learn by teaching it? To teach is to demonstrate. To demonstrate is to express what you have decided will hold the greatest value for you. Whenever you judge another, you are decreeing that the thing of greatest value is separation, since judgment always causes contraction, and therefore separation from another. When you practice forgiveness, you are decreeing that what you value is joining in holy and peace-filled relationships. Remember that forgiveness has nothing at all to do with saying to another, I can see that you have sinned, but I forgive you your faults. No. Forgiveness is the recognition that nothing has been done to you, that you would prefer to see the face of Christ in the one in front of you. Let me give you an example related to Easter. Easter celebrates resurrection. It has been made to celebrate my resurrection, but this has only served to turn your attention from the specialness into the sense of your uniqueness, the specialness of your existence, your reality, and placed your attention on mine and on me, as though Christ is something merely historical, as if I am special in the eyes of our God. Accepting the resurrection for yourself. Upon this Easter, whenever you read this, recognize that you have the power to celebrate and accept your resurrection as a living Christ by seeing beyond the boundaries of death, loss, fear, hurt, anger, projection, and the perception upon which projection rests. You are the one who has been reborn when you choose to remember only loving thoughts. What then is the veil that seems to make it so difficult? It can be only this, that you have accepted into your mind at some level that the world you see is real, and that it holds the power to dictate you whether you feel peace or disturbance, love or judgment. This is always an illusion. My question for you is, would you be willing to surrender your illusion in order to remember the peace of God? The question is whether or not you will accept the atonement for yourself, the resurrection for yourself, and be determined to walk this earth as one who has arisen. What does that mean? It means that you have chosen to awaken from the uselessness of separation, the uselessness of victimhood, and the uselessness of weakness, and you have chosen to accept the empowerment of being responsible for this dimension of creation, the empowerment of deciding to walk the earth as the arisen Christ. You have chosen to take the message of an historical event that did occur in time, for if it did not, someone has managed to fool me, and to assimilate it as a symbol of your own life. For you have well been crucified by your own thoughts, and by your own thoughts you have brought your persecutors to you, who have nailed you to a cross 1,000,000 times, so that you could be confronted with the opportunity to look upon a lovely world by seeing only through the eyes of love. Think then for a moment and imagine that you are nailed upon a cross. You are stuck between the vertical axis of eternity and the horizontal axis of time in the body. Imagine that you lift your head, upon which you have placed a crown of thorns. What does that represent? It represents the field of the mind as it operates and expresses through the body, through the brain. Those thorns represent your fearful thoughts, your judgmental thoughts, your limited thoughts that press and poke upon your own energy field and give you quite a cosmic headache and draw blood. That is, it releases the life force from you, the power from you, as it drains down your auric field. You dissipate yourself, much like a balloon with a slow leak dissipates the power that makes it a balloon. A crown of thorns symbolizes the effect of the thoughts you insist upon when you rest in judgment or anger, hurt or fear. That is when you choose to deny love. The nails merely represent that which would hold you stuck in a dimension, the horizontal dimension of the body and of time, which would nail your feet to the world. Down to earth, they call it. Yet above you, the crown of your head is open heavenward, and you are free to receive the love of God, to choose only loving thoughts, to look gently upon everyone and every event, seeing only perfect innocence. So imagine now that you lift your head and you realize, the blood is dripping from my brow by my own hand. The crown of thorns was placed upon me by those who came to serve me, to shock me into the remembrance that I have allowed myself at time to have thoughts of negativity, limitation, and fear. No wonder I have had such a headache. You look to the left and to the right, and you see your wrist bound to the horizontal plane by a nail, a hard piece of iron, cold and thoughtless. How many times have you bound yourself to the things of time through your own thoughtlessness, your own coldness? You turn to look down at your feet. They are crossed over, resting gently upon a small wooden slab, with a nail through them, as though the world were saying, "Don't you dare try to rise above your level of consciousness. How dare you mirror to us the truth of our being by always being so sickeningly lovingly?" The world will seek to nail you down to earth by insisting that you think with it. For remember always that the world, not the earth, but the world of human experience, is the attempt to create that which is opposite of reality, like many who would gather together to make a drug and think that their insanity is the same as the bliss and ecstasy of union with God. Yet they would not dare drive an automobile, cannot think in a coherent thought, and do not even remember where they are. Now you turn your eyes from the roar and the din of the world. You see the soldiers, your persecutors, totally unconscious, totally conformed to the authority of the world, so that they have donned the armor, the headpiece, the footwear, and carry the spears of a God made as a substitute for love. You look out upon the fearful crowd. You see some friends who still see your soul, your Christ-mindedness, and continue to love you. Yet even they are veiled by their belief that death and loss are possible, so you are completely alone. No one is going to save you. No one is going to rescue you. It is between you and your God. It is a decision that you must make, to be determined to choose only what is real, regardless of what the eye seems to show you, and what every mind around you seems to believe, even those who profess belief in their message of love. For they look upon the body, and an old belief takes hold. The body is what is real. After all, look at this. It is nailed to a cross. This is limitation. This proves that the world's thinking is true. And so you must lift your eyes from the world that you think you see and choose to accept reality. Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. There is nothing more than the choice for sanity in the midst of all conditions, the choice for what is eternal in the field of what is temporal, the choice for what is unlimited in the field of what seems to be limitation, the choice for sanity in the field of what seems to be pervaded by insanity, the choice to remember only thoughts born in love. Then your eyes look down again, and something has changed. You are at peace. You recognize that you are above the world. You are above the crowd, and a gentle sweetness begins to pervade your entire beingness. All pain and suffering is forgotten. The nails can hold you no longer. The world cannot keep you down in its insanity. The eyes of the body close, and as they close, the world they have shown you recedes, and the real world appears. And you rest in the perfect remembrance that you are one with God. Your attention drifts away from insanity. Yet you are truly aware that you can still see your friends. You see the soldiers, you see the tears, the tumult. You see some who are merely standing quietly. And you bless them and release them to have the perception that they would choose. For you have come to love yourself so much that they will accept only what is real. It is finished. The resurrection now begins. Easter is your birthday. Easter is a time to celebrate that the crown of thorns has been removed because you have chosen to think only loving thoughts, and that you have remembered the power given unto you through which you transcend the awful, dreaded, and suffering-filled experience born of fear. For in love there is only peace. In love there is only the infinitude of pure spirit. In love is Christ restored to your consciousness. In love are you returned. Easter is for you and not for me. Therefore set aside your images and your practices of me. Make no pilgrimage to me. Make a pilgrimage to the heart of yourself by looking upon all that you see this day and seeing its beauty, its harmlessness, and by knowing that you are looking out through the eyes of the arisen Christ. You are the one who, with me, has overcome the world. What there can be left to do but to celebrate with your brothers and sisters? What can there be left to do but to laugh, to sing, to play, and to remember in quiet devotion the love your Creator has always had for you? You can choose only between love and fear. In love you are resurrected. In fear you are crucified. What then will be your choice in this lesson in which death offers you eternal life? We would ask that you read this lesson many times, for here alone do you find the magic doorway set before you always. The only choice that matters is before you now, as it is always. Love or fear, resurrection or crucifixion, joy or suffering, unlimitedness or smallness. The choice is always yours, and like me, upon a cross so long ago, no one can make the decision for you. No one causes your perception. They flow from your choice for crucifixion or resurrection. I know where I would choose to have you join me. Know then that I love you always, in the way that you will allow and to the depth that you will accept. Choose then with me, and you are free. Peace, beloved friends, peace to the only begotten of God, the resurrected Christ, or the crucified body and the egoic mind. Amen.